Very good morning to one and all. We, the faculties of SRM Dental College, myself, Dr. A.C. Ahila, Professor, Dr. Peter John, Associate Professor, Dr. Padmashini Jnanam, Assistant Professor, Dr. K. Aravind, Assistant Professor, are going to conduct a pre-conference course on provisional restorations every prosthodontist conundrum. Before we are going to start up our session, I would like to thank the organizing committee for giving us an opportunity to conduct this program. This is our college, SRM Dental College at Ramapuram, where we are working. Everyone wants to replace the missing tooth with fixed dental processes. This fixed dental processes can be fabricated either directly or indirectly from their cast. So this replacement of missing tooth with fixed processes starts from tooth preparation and ends with cementation of the processes. During the phase between preparation till the cementation, we have to protect the underlying tooth structure from the thermal injury and mechanical injury. So we have to we need a processes that is interim processes, otherwise called provisional restoration. The purpose of provisional restoration is protect the tooth structure from thermal injury, or it protect the tooth structure from fracture, facilitates the aesthetics during the short period of time, also facilitate the social life of the particular person. What is provisional restoration? According to GPT-9, it is the processes used to establish aesthetics, occlusal stability, and function for a limited time in preparation for the definitive processes. To verify therapeutic outcome and patient acceptance before the definitive processes. Let's see the terminology. Provisional processes or interim processes or temporaries are the various terms used for provisional restorations. Let's see what are the requirements. There are three major categories, that is biological requirement, mechanical requirement, and aesthetic requirement. Under the biological requirement, the provisional restoration should protect the pulp from any sorts of thermal injury like cold as well as heart injury. So mechanically, it should protect the underlying tooth structure. Aesthetically, it should facilitate the appearance of the patient so that they will have a normal social life. Let's see the properties of provisional restorative materials. So the materials used for making provisional restoration should be biocompatible, then dimensionally stable and easy to contour and polish. They should have adequate strength and abrasive resistance, and they easily subject to repair. They should have good aesthetics and patient acceptance. Let's see the phases in provisional restoration. Initially, it starts with diagnostic cast, wax up, matrix fabrication. The second step is tooth preparation. Then the third step, provisional restoration fabrication. Then the last step will be temporary cementation. This temporary restorations can be classified in many ways. Depending upon the method of fabrication, they can be classified into custom-made or pre-fabricated. In the other way, depending upon the material used for fabrication, they are classified into resin-based or metal type of provisional restoration. Let's move on to the prefabricated provisional restoration. They are divided into metallic and resin-based provisional restoration. Under the metallic type of prefabricated provisional restoration, we have tin silver crown, nickel chromium crown, then aluminum crowns. Under the resin-based type, we have cellulose acetate crown, polycarbonate crowns. Depending upon the duration of use, these provisional restorations are again classified into short-term provisional restoration and long-term provisional restoration. Short-term provisional restoration means the restoration can be used for less than 2 weeks. Long-term provisional restoration, more than 2 weeks that can be used. Let's move on to the prefabricated provisional restoration. how it is fabricated. Now, you can see the case of prefabricated polycarbonate crowns. It has total number of 180 number of prefabricated polycarbonate crowns. In these crowns designated by various number, which shows the number of teeth. That is 1 means that is central incisor, 1 means that is lateral incisor. So the number denotes the type category of tooth it is going to be used, and 100, 200 that denotes the size of the prefabricated polycarbonate crowns. These are the clinical instruments used for modification of a prefabricated crown during the clinical procedure. So this is the typhodont, which is used to show the oral cavity. That is, it is used as a simulation of maxilla and mandible. These are the laboratory instruments used for modification of tooth surfaces of the prefabricated polycarbonate crowns. We can see the appendice, which is used to manipulation or mixing of tooth color polymethyl methacrylate resin. So we can see the pair of prefabricated polycarbonate crown and a metallic crown for posterior replacement. So now this is the material, that is tooth color, autopolymerase, PMA resin and powder used for modification of internal surface of the provisional restoration. We can very well see the occlusal morphology and the labial surface of the prefabricated polycarbonate crown. Let's see how a prefabricated anterior crown is selected and modified and cemented. Initially, measure the mesiodistal of the fractured tooth or RCT-treated tooth, either with divider or we can use digital vernier caliper. Then we have to select the correct size of prefabricated polycarbonate crown. In this case, initially the size was less. Now this crown was little bigger than that. Now you have selected a proper size of the prefabricated provisional crown. So once the prefabricated crown is selected, we have to check the fitting of the prefabricated crown on the prepared tooth. We can appreciate the tooth surface, then it is fixed, and check whether the extending properly and the incisal mesiodistal width is similar to the adjacent tooth. In this crown, the cervical margin is little bigger. It should be modified. So before going to modification, we are supposed to apply a separating media. Most commonly, with Vaseline is used as a separating media. It should be applied on the buccal surface, lingual surface, and proximal surface. Also the proximal surface of the adjacent tooth nicely with the fingers. Once it is applied, we have to modify the prefabricated provisional crown. For this, we have to dispense tooth color PMA resin in the appendice and add the monomer till it is totally saturated. Once it is added, now mix the polymer and monomer nicely till it gets a proper consistency. So once it is mixed properly, we have to wait for some time. Once it is reached the proper consistency, now you can see the consistency. You just take up the prefabricated crown fitting surface, add it on the fitting surface of the prefabricated crown, then distribute it evenly along the buccal, lingual, and proximal surfaces, also along the finish line area of the prefabricated crown. So the cervical margin, make sure that it is covered with PMA resin. Then we have to fix the crown on the prepared tooth nicely. We have to apply pressure with the handle. Now we can very well appreciate the excess resin. Now we have to remove the excess with Explorer. Also on the palatal aspect, we have to remove the excess materials, otherwise that will release heat that might damage the soft tissue, that is gingiva close to the cervical margin of the crown. Once we remove, we have to check whether the material has flowed properly by removing the provisional restoration before the polymerization is completed. Make sure that it is flowed properly. Then we have to set it again. Then remove it. Now mark the finish line area with the pencil. We have to mark buccal, mesial, then palatal, then mesial surface of the prefabricated crown nicely. We can very well appreciate the finish line area. Then we have to hold the provisional restoration such a way the micromotor to be held at angle. Then remove the excess material. Now dispense the IRM material, powder and liquid, and using the cement spatula on a glass slab. Mix using a rotatory motion. Mix it properly till get the gluting consistency. Then bring it in one place. Then load it on the fitting surface of the provisional crown. Now we have to add again the provisional restoration, that is IRM gluting agent has been applied. Then we have to spread the material along the fitting surface, also on the finished end area nicely. Then we have to fix the filled crown gently on the prepared tooth. Then apply light pressure with the handle on the crown. Then we have to wait for some time till the material sets. Then remove it with Explorer. Then also we can use wet cotton on a tweezer to remove the excess material. We start from the interdental area, buccal area, then come to the palatal surface. So remove the excess on the interdental area on the palatal surface also nicely with Explorer. You can see how the provisional crown is fixed on the tooth. At last, we have to remove the handle with the scissor. Now you can see the provisional restoration is cemented on the prepared tooth. Then we have to check the clearance as well as you can appreciate the palatal surface. This is the way we are supposed to fabricate or modify the tissue surface of the provisional crown. Let's see how a posterior crown is modified. We have to select a posterior crown, that is metallic crown. This is a stainless steel crown to be selected similar to the anterior tooth. Initially, we have to measure the mesodistal width of the particular tooth. If it is fractured or ossified or adjacent tooth, you can measure. Then we have to select according to the size. This crown will be slightly oversized at the cervical margin. So we have to modify the cervical margin with contour with a Johnson's contouring plier, or we can use curved scissors also good to remove the excess at the cervical margin. Then we have to fit it on the tooth surface. Then we have to ask the patient to close and check the occlusion with articulating paper. Then we have to load it with IRM material. So biggest problem with this posterior crown is there is chances for overextension into the gingival sulcus serisa lead to gingival shrinkage. So to avoid that, we have to contour the cervical margin with planking pliers. Next, let's see how a custom-made provisional restoration is made. So custom-made provisional restoration means that is the one provisional is made for a particular person. There's no need of modification on the internal surface. This custom-made provisional restoration can be fabricated by direct method, indirect method, or indirect and direct method. There are so many techniques are available for fabrication of custom-made provisional restorations like over-impression fabricated provisional restoration, template fabricated provisional restoration, template fabricated VLC provisional restoration, over-impression fabricated BIS acrylic composite crown, and shell fabricated provisional restoration. For making a provisional restoration customarily, we are using polymethyl methacrylate resin or polyethyl methacrylate resin or polyvinyl ethyl methacrylate resin or bisacrylic composite resin. So far, these are the materials commonly used in the clinics or in the laboratory for fabrication of provisional restoration. Let's see the fabrication of custom-made provisional restoration in different techniques.
Hi and welcome everyone. Today we are going to discuss about a direct technique in temporization. So coming directly into the topic, it will be a videographic demonstration how we are going to do a direct temporization technique. As in the previous technique, we were talking about preformed crowns. So preformed crowns are done in case of when you are going for a single tooth preparation, when you're planning to give a temporary for a single tooth preparation. Whereas in case of a multi-unit preparation where you have a Pontic and retainers are there, we have to go for a direct technique where the Pontic is also involved. So in this case, it is going to be purely a chair side temporization technique. So we are going to talk. Coming to the armamentarium, you should have a Dentulus stock tray for making the impression. You have a mouth mirror. You have an explorer. You should have a BP blade with a number 15 blade, tweezer, articulating paper holder, your articulating paper, your wax carver, a lead pencil, the trimmers including your disc mandrel and your carborundum disc. You have a glass slab and spatula. You have monomer with which is dispensed in the syringe, zinc oxide eugenol cement. You should have cotton, tooth molding powder, acrylic tooth molding powder, a light cure unit, elastomeric impression material like putty light body, alginate impression material, a bowl and spatula, and a trimmer with a hand paste. So coming to the intraoral examination, here I'm going to explain about a 3-unit conventional bridge where 2-5 is missing and you're going to take support of 2-4 and 2-6. So your 2-4 and 2-6 is going to be the retainers and 2-5 is going to be a Pontic area. So this is a conventional FPD. Here we are going to do the preparation and we are going to do a temporization by a direct technique. So prior to that, we are going to make an impression of the scenario, like, the clinical scenario, and we're going to do a wax mock-up. The 5 is placed, the missing 5 is placed, and it's adapted in the cast, and you're going to make a putty index on top of it. So making the putty index, equal amount of elastomeric impression material is taken and manipulated according to the manufacturer specification. Vinyl gloves are preferred over normal latex gloves for the proper mixing and proper manipulation. So the manipulation is done, the kneading is properly done. And once the material is correctly pliable for impression, we are going to make a putty index on the diagnostic mock-up wax cast, which we already made, which we already showed in the previous picture. So the material is manipulated, then it is adapted over the cast, the mock-up wax cast. Care should be taken to give proper pressure on both the sides, the buccal and the palatal side. And adequate amount of pressure is given so that, you will get all the details. Adapt it well towards the tissue surface, the cast. You can remove the excess with the help of a BP blade, number 15. Here, one tip is, like, if you are cutting the putty material, once it is set, it will be easy for you to remove because it will come as a single piece. Here, it was in a little hurry, so that, I would have waited for some more time, so that that entire piece would have come in a single piece. So we can wait for some more time to cut it. Whatever it is, the buccally and palatally and both the mesial and the distal side, the putty index, the excess material is cut out. Same way it is done on the distal area. The palatal side and the putty index is taken out. Now we can see the evaluation of the putty index. 1.5 to 2 mm of the putty index should be extra about the cervical finish line. So more than that, whatever the material is there, you need to cut it out. So you're going to keep it into the TIFO model. Now you'll be able to appreciate the amount of material, the finish line of the putty, not the finish line of the tooth preparation. The finish line of the putty is, like, it is hardly 1.52 or maximum 3 mm above the gingival cervical line. So more than this have to be removed. Otherwise, your excess material will get debrided inside and the flash won't come out properly, so that you might go for a defective temporary. So carefully cut out, and it will be better appreciated if you are going to cut the putty index according to the gingival pattern, as it is shown clearly now. If you follow the gingival collar on the buccal side and the palatal side, you will be able to check it out. This picture shows it very well. Now evaluating the preparation. Now the 2.6 and 2.4 are prepared. You can see the finish line. So after the preparation, equal amount of Vaseline is applied on the abutment tooth with the help of a brush. It can be a separating medium, preferably Vaseline is used. Adequate amount of tooth colored temporary material, tooth molting powder, is taken in a dampened dish. There is a polymer. Adequate amount of monomer is also added. And you can start the mixing here. If in case the material is less, you can add it, even if the polymer or the monomer, whatever it is. So you can add it appropriately and you need to mix it. So here the polymer was less. So we are adding little more polymer so that we will get a good mix. Once the mixing is done, and these tooth molding powders are available in different shades, right from A to E. So you can select the shade for the temporary also. And once the mix is good, and before the dough stage, the mix is just before the dough stage, we are going to take it and you're going to place it into the retainer part and the pontic area. So you're going to fill it in that area. You can see the material is flowing inside. This is a consistency which is well appreciated for a proper temporary. So at this consistency, if you're going to place it into the putty index, chances of air bubbles are very less because it flows inside. If you are going to follow the dough stage consistency, then again, it is going to be a little bit a problem. So try to place it in the liquid consistency, not very viscous thing. Care should be taken to exert and insert more amount of material to the pontic area because pontic area is going to be bulky here. So more amount of material has to be added in the pontic area other than the retainer area. You can push the material towards the cervical walls so that the finish line also will be properly appreciated. Any extra material needed has to be added before you're going to insert it into the patient's mouth. You can wait. Once the material is added, you can wait for 2 to 3 seconds so that the material is almost reaching the dough consistency. And that is optimal consistency where you're going to insert it. Now it is done. And it is carefully inserted into the prepared tooth where already Vaseline is applied. After inserted, optimal pressure is given. Since the index is cut on the adjacent tooth, you will be able to appreciate whether it is approximated properly by checking out the buccal and your mesial and the distal areas. So proper pressure is given and I'll allow the material to set inside. Once it is set, by checking the flash which is already there in the dappen dish, it is advised to take out the material before it finally sets. So that excess flash can be cut out very easily. So the putty index is removed and the excess flash, any material is there, you can cut it out with the help of BP blade. And once it is set, you can remove it from the putty index and then start trimming. Now for trimming the temporary, the finishing and the polishing steps, we are using the acrylic burr. And how we are going to prepare, like, your acrylic denture base, the same way it is going to be used. So you can use your acrylic burr first. Here I'm using the white color burr. I'm going to smoothen. I'm going to cut after cutting the excess, I'm going to smoothen the entire surface with the help of the burr with a micromotor handpiece on all the sides, on the buccal and the palatal sides. Followed by this, we are going to use the carborundum disc for giving the proper separation between the pontic and the retainers, which will aid in your aesthetics. So proper separation is given in both the interdental spaces on the buccal and the palatal surface. And more than this, the gingival cal area, you have to give a proper separation there so that you are not going to disturb the free gingiva margin. So carefully, you are going to give the gingival cal area, the relief for the gingival cal area, so that it will be like well maintained in the patient's mouth. Once the separation is done, you're going to do the sandpapering with the help of a sandpaper mandrel, followed by the pumice buff. After pumice, you are going to apply the rouge and you're going to do the final polishing. So once the final polishing is done, you're going to evaluate the professionals. Both on the buccal and the palatal surface. And you're going to insert it into the patient's mouth and going to check the intraoral fit. Now you'll be able to appreciate the finish line adaptation. After that, any high points is there, you're going to check it with the help of an articulating paper, with an articulating paper forceps. So we can keep in between. We can check the occlusion, and if there are any high points is present, you can remove it with the help of an acrylic, but because of the articulating paper marks. So once that is checked everything, you're going to cement it. And for cementation, preferably a non-eugenol cement is preferred. Here we are using a eugenol cement, zinc oxide eugenol. So it is mixed thoroughly. One tip over here is don't mix extra material and load it into the retainers, because you have not given any cement space in your retainers, because it is a direct technique. So little or very minimal amount of cement is required. So you don't want to fill entire retainer so that you're going to push it against the tooth, and then because of the cement thickness, the material, the temporary won't fit properly, or else you'll get a lot of flash which comes out, which is not that easy to clean it out from the patient's mouth. So very minimal cement is required, and it is added into the retainer part of your temporary. So once it is added, with an explorer, you are going to push it against the walls so that equal amount of material will be there on the walls, side of the walls. Any excess amount is there, you can remove it at this time. A very thin layer of cement is enough, just as it's going to be a temporary material. And it is cemented inside the patient's mouth. So now we can see the final fit here. So we can appreciate the finish line adaptation here. And this is how a direct technique with the help of a putty index is done. Now coming to the alternative technique. The alternative technique in a direct technique is going to be your vacuum sheet. So this is the vacuum splint sheet. So already we have a cast, which we did a wax mock-up. On top of that, we are going to make another impression and we are going to make a cast out of it. And on top of that cast, we are going to make a vacuum splint sheet. And the same procedures in that pattern. So here, the direct technique is done. And here is an alternative. So this vacuum sheet is available in the market. You can take it and you can make the cast out of it. It is otherwise called as a splint sheet. And the same splint sheet, we are going to cut it same like how we cut the putty index. The material what we are going to use it over here is going to be a Revotech Lightcure temporary material. So because of that only we are using a vacuum sheet which is transparent. So with that you'll be able to cure it since it is going to be a light cure. So the same thing, after cutting that vacuum sheet in the desired area, you're going to check that fit, same like how you check for the putty index fit. You're going to check it in the patient's mouth again. Same assessment, 1.5 to 2 mm, the material should be excess on the gingival cervical line. More than that should be cut out so that extra flash is coming, you'll be able to remove then and there itself from the patient's mouth. So you can appreciate the gingival collar on the palatal and the buccal side. So now the Revotech material, as I already told, it is a light cure material. So we are going to dispense the Revotech material into the light cure splint sheet. So we are going to press it against the same how you did it on the putty index, the same way. On the Ponticare, you are going to keep more material, and on both the retainers, you're going to keep the material. And with the help of any hand instrument, here I used a wax carver. You can use any hand instruments also. You can push the material towards the wall. Adequate amount of material has to be taken. And both the retainers, it is going to be added. Push it towards the walls, and any excess material here has to be taken out then and there itself, because it is a transparent material. You'll be able to see, you'll be able to appreciate the amount of material which is actually bulging out before you place it in the patient's mouth itself. So whatever the excess material is there, try to cut it out then and there itself. Once it is done, you're going to insert it into the patient's mouth and you're going to cure it with the help of a light cure unit. So that is kept inside. It's cured with the help of a light cure unit. Once the curing is done, remove the index and remove the temporary Revotech temporary from the vacuum sheet index itself. No need to give a polish over here. Only you need to give the separations where excess amount can be removed with the help of a carborundum disc. Because this material is highly abrasive resistant, so no need to polish it. It has a very glossy appearance. It will have more aesthetics than your tooth colored polymethyl methacrylate material. So just do a separation, and gingival cal area also you're going to separate it because you don't want to disturb the free gingiva. Same way how we cemented the previous temporary, you are going to mix the temporary cement and you're going to fix it before checking it with the help of an articulating paper. So this is how you are going to do a alternative technique with the help of a Rivotec LC material. So I've spoke about both the polymethyl methacrylate material and the Rivotec LC material, how to do a direct temporization on a chair side. Hope you all understood. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning to one and all. My section of this pre-conference course will be about the indirect technique of provisionalization. So the difference between the direct technique and the indirect technique is that in the indirect technique, the entire procedure, that is the fabrication of the temporary crown, is done outside the mouth. So we have to make a cast on which we will make the provisional restoration. So the advantages of this technique is that first advantage, it offers very good marginal fit and accuracy, and also the occlusal morphology can be reproduced very accurately. Secondly, it prevents the prepared tooth from being subjected to the heat of the setting polymer. So in the direct technique, the polymer is directly placed inside the mouth. So when the acrylic sets, it generates heat, which is damaging to the mucosa as well as the prepared tooth. In this technique, the entire procedure is done in the laboratory on a cast, so it prevents the heat from being generated. The third advantage is that the free monomer will be present when your acrylic sets. So when the tissues, the oral mucosa comes into contact with the free monomer, it can lead to some allergic reactions. So this is prevented by doing the entire procedure on a cast. So these are the advantages of the indirect technique. The disadvantages are that the chairside time is very high, because first you have to make a diagnostic impression, and then after that you have to pour a cast, you have to make a putty index, then you have to prepare the tooth. So you have a lot of steps which you need to cover to make the provisional restoration. Secondly, if the diagnostic cast gets damaged in the process, the resultant provisional restoration on the temporary crown will also be defective. Thirdly, it's a laborious procedure, so you cannot do it single-handedly. You need an assistant in the lab who will do all the lab work for you. So somebody who will pour the cast for you, somebody who will mix the resin and keep it in the cast, and then trim the restoration for you. So you need an assistant to do the laboratory steps. And lastly, you have a lot of steps. As I said, you have to make two sets of impressions, and then you have to make another putty index. You have to wait for the cast to set. So all this is a laborious, time consuming, and the number of steps which are involved are also more. Okay. So when you compare the direct as well as the indirect technique, even though the direct technique is a convenient one, and the procedure is a short procedure, the marginal fit that you get with an indirect technique is better. But the disadvantage over here is that the chairside time is more. And also, that is the chairside time, I mean the laboratory time is more. So to get the provisional restoration, the patient has to wait for a long period of time. But again, the advantage here is that there is no free monomer which is leached onto the oral tissues, or there is no heat which is generated which will cause any damage to the oral tissues. So you need to take into account the positives and negatives of both these techniques before you choose which one you're going to select for the patient. Okay, so now we will go into a small video demonstration where I will be showing you how we are going to do the indirect technique of provisional restoration. So I have done it in a Typeron tooth. So the tooth that I'm going to be using today is 2.7. Don't bother about the other teeth which were prepared already. So 2-7 is the tooth that we are going to be taking into account for our preparation. Okay. So when the patient first walks into the clinic and then you are going to do the tooth preparation, before you start the procedure, always you have to make a diagnostic impression. Not only for the purpose of your temporary restoration, but even generally a diagnostic impression is very essential because you'll be able to assess the tooth outside the oral cavity. You will know amount of reduction that is to be done. You will know the height of the tooth which is already present. So you will know how the opposing dentition is. So a diagnostic impression is always important, and for making this provisional crown, it is doubly important. So mix the putty. Since only the tooth is going to be reproduced, you don't have to cover the palatal area, and mix the putty, and then you have to make the impression. So the tooth that we're concentrating is 2-7. Once the putty sets, we remove the impression and we can see the tooth that we need, which is being reproduced accurately on your diagnostic impression. So you have to make a diagnostic cast from this impression. And so during this period of time, the patient has to be waiting in the clinic. So it's always better to use quick setting plaster, or you can have some additives like you can add sodium chloride to your stone to help it set faster. So once the cast is poured, you allow the cast to set. So this is your diagnostic impression and the diagnostic cast that we have retrieved from this. Now we're going to make the putty index. To make the putty index, you have to take small amount of your base and catalyst of putty and then mix it thoroughly to form a homogeneous color. And this putty is rolled and placed over the tooth that is needed. So you're not supposed to just retain it to the tooth that you're going to prepare, or ideally you're supposed to extend it to one tooth before and one tooth after your required tooth. Okay, so here I've covered it from 2-5, 2-6, 2-7 and 2-8. And then once the putty sets, you remove the index and you can see the tooth that we are going to be using, that is 2-7, has been reproduced properly from your cast. So here our putty index is ready now. So now make the patient sit in the chair and then you can start the tooth preparation. So we all know how to do a proper tooth preparation for the a metal ceramic or a metal crown. So ideally, axial preparation must be done. The facial and the palatal preparation must be done. Then the occlusal preparation must be done. Once all these preparations are done, you're supposed to check for clearance. The amount of clearance must be sufficient. You're also supposed to check for the amount of space which is present in the axial walls. So after you're done with the preparation, you have to make another impression. So this is an impression which we are not going to make of the entire arch. Okay, we're just going to make the impression of the area where we have prepared the tooth. Again, you have to mix putty. So as I was saying, you have so many different stages. So you have made one diagnostic impression and a diagnostic cast. Now you're making a check impression and you're going to pour a check cast. Then you have another putty index. So it is a very laborious process. So you have a lot of time where the patient needs to keep waiting, for your cast to set. So you have to make an impression of only the area where we have prepared the tooth. So this is a check impression. Once the impression sets, you can remove it. So this check impression will give us the prepared tooth. Okay. Now, this check impression is not only needed for this kind of an indirect restoration or provisional restoration, even when you're doing multiple tooth preparation, suppose you're doing, all 6 anteriors you're preparing, in that case also you can go for a check impression and you can pour the cast, because to see the parallelism between all the teeth, it is not possible to do it intraorally. So when you do, when you make this kind of a cast and extraorally, you will be able to assess whether the prepared teeth are parallel to each other, where you have to reduce some more. Okay, so this is the check cast that we have obtained. So this check cast is a cast which contains your prepared tooth. So now you have your putty index that we made, and then you have the check cast that you made. Okay, so it is not necessary for your putty index and the check cast to seat properly, because your cast may have some extensions, your cast may have some excess of stone which is present, so that can hinder the seating of your putty index. In that case, you can either cut the putty index or you can cut the cast in place. So now you have a putty index where it is seated completely into your cast. Okay, now to make your provisional restoration, you have to generously apply a separating medium. Either you can choose a petroleum jelly or like Vaseline, or you can use a cold mold seal. So once you apply this, all the surfaces must be thoroughly lubricated. Then you have to choose the color of the tooth molding powder. Since it's a posterior tooth, it is not of much importance. But suppose you're going for an anterior temporary, in that case, you need to choose the shade of the tooth molding powder before you start the work. So dispense the required amount of tooth molding powder and mix it with the monomer, as you will see. This is the monomer. Once it is mixed, you have to load it onto the putty index. Make sure you mark the side, okay, whether it is labial or whether it is buccal or palatal, because when we are making the temporary crown, definitely we will get confused which side is the palatal side and which side is the buccal side, and we may not place it properly. So once it is positioned correctly, hold it in place till the initial set is complete. So once it is set, you can remove the temporary crown. It will have a lot of flash which is present around it. So we have, before you seat it in the patient's mouth or before you try to seat it in the check cast, you're supposed to trim all the flash. So acrylic trimmers can be used to trim all the excess flash. Make sure that you do not over reduce the margins, because the marginal fit is very important. So I'm not going to the entire video of trimming the temporary crown. So this is, as you know how to trim the temporary crown. So I'm not going to be elaborating much on that. And once you trim it, you try to seat it onto your check cast. This is a seated one where the margins are perfect. And after that, you're supposed to take it out, place it in the patient's mouth, check for occlusion. So suppose you do not compress the putty index to the cast correctly, you will have a little high points which will be present, or your temporary crown will be a little higher. In those cases, you're supposed to mark those high points and reduce it accurately. And once you're comfortable with the occlusion, you're supposed to sandpaper it lightly. Don't sandpaper it much because the margins can go away. And then you're supposed to polish it and then cement it with a temporary cement. Thank you, one and all. I will pass it on to the next presenter for the next portion of the topic.
Hello everyone. So today we will see the method of indirect direct technique of application of your provisional grounds. So as you know, provisional grounds have several advantages, and there are different techniques of fabricating this indirect fabricating of your provisional grounds. Okay. So what is this indirect direct technique? This indirect direct technique, we will be using both the indirect as well as the direct methods of fabrication. It's a combination of both the techniques. And so that here the advantage is it requires more of your laboratory time and very little of your chairside time for the fabrication of your process. But anyway, for any of the techniques that you're doing, you need a proper diagnostic impression and diagnostic model. So this diagnostic impression and model, we could diagnostic impression can be made either using alginic or using a putty light body. Well, the advantage of using a putty light body is that you could go multiple models. This model, so when you have multiple models, let's say 2 or 3 models, you could use one model for diagnostic purpose, and the second model for doing a wax or as the working model. So we'll just see the procedure now. I'll start sharing the screen. Okay. Okay. So this I told you we are using both the indirect and direct technique. And so the first step is once the patient comes in, okay, you will take the impression. Then you will pour the model setting plastron. Okay, the additional step, see, the special step is you will be doing the relining of the provisional grounds that you've already fabricated in the lab. So we just see this procedure for me. And so you require a model. See this model. Okay, the same thing what we have shown in the previous lectures. Okay, and so here 2.5 we have replaced it acrylic. You could either use an acrylic to stabilize by wax, or you could replace the missing tooth with wax up itself, okay, by using tooth wax. Okay. But you require good impression and good model, and it should replicate all the teeth present, the hard and soft tissues. And now coming to the armamentarium, you have your impression tray, okay. Then you have the diagnostic instruments such as your mouth mirror probe, then your PP handle, PP blade, okay, for trimming the material, for cutting the putty index. Okay. Then you require article paper. Then importantly, you require acrylic trimmer. Okay, this is a lab acrylic trimmer, which will be very handy. Chairs and you could use it when you require a clean impression bowl and your rubber bowl and your spatula. Then of course your impression materials. Okay, it is hydrocolloid as well as putty material. Then you also require tooth molding powder, okay, which is acrylic polymer as well as your monomer. Okay. You can also select the proper shade of the tooth. Okay. Then you require a separating medium. Then also you require the zinc oxide solution, which is a liquid cement, or you could also use IR. Then you require a dampen dish for mixing the acrylic, and then a syringe for dispensing of the monomer. Now for mixing the luting cement, okay, either IRM or zinc oxide solution, you should use a clean glass slab and a cement spatula. Then you require your trimmers. The trimmers are one acrylic burr, and then you have your disc, okay, diamond disc for trimming the acrylic in the caul area. Okay, that is the gingival area. Okay. Then of course you require a sandpaper mandrel and sandpaper, and then your buff, okay, for polishing. Now you could you should trim the abutment teeth on the model, okay, using your either a PP blade, or you could use your burrs itself. Okay, a straight Fisher burr or anything would be handy, but I would prefer a BP blade for this purpose. And this trimming, okay, as you can see, it is done very minimum quantity. Okay. It should be done about 1 mm. Okay, 1 mm thickness should be reduced. You don't have to go for the extensive preparation as you would be doing it at the upper 20. Okay, that's intraorally. In this method also, that is the laboratory step, you don't have to worry about giving a good finish margins. It just needs to be approximate shape. But what you must ensure is both the upper 20. Okay. In this case, it is 2.6 and 2.5. You need to make it parallel and move under cuts. So the advantage of again using this model is that you could rotate the model in any way, okay, in any direction, so as to make it comfortable for you to do a good preparation. And when you're using a BP blade, a word of caution is for safety. For that, you need to use proper finger rest. So if you have a proper finger rest on the model, you would not only ensure your own safety, you also have control in your cutting strokes. Okay. This way, you'll be able to control the amount of material that you are removing. So take your time. So that is another advantage. So you don't, because this is a laboratory step. So you could take your time and do the preparation. So slowly you can remove it. So once you're done with the molar, you could go with the premolar. And so you could, once you are done in the preparation, please just ensure that you remove all the sharp lines. Okay, so you should round up all the sharp corners of the preparation. So you then, once you're satisfied, you should go for the next step, which is the fabrication of your provisional crowns. So make the putty index initially itself. Okay, so I'm not showing you the putty index in this video because this has been shown previously by Dr. Peter. Okay, so you need to now paint the model with your separating medium. Okay, you use a good brush, paint brush to paint the your model with a separating medium. Now, while this painting, you must ensure uniform thickness of your separating medium, and you don't have to paint the entire model. Just restrict the application of separating medium only to the teeth which will come in contact with the acrylic. So once you have painted, just allow it to dry, and once it is set, you can start mixing your monomer and polymer. And so dispense a sufficient quantity of your polymer, okay, and then you wet it with the monomer. Okay. So if you think you dispensed too much of monomer, just check for viscosity, and then you could have more polymer, and then allow it to polymerize until it goes to its dough stage. So once it is in the dough stage, okay, it is now ready for loading it into your putty index. And you can cover the top of the your appendage by a cover, okay, so that you prevent the evaporation of the monomer. So once you feel that the your mix is ready, okay, you can load it onto the index, okay, on the tissue surface of the index, and then seat it onto the model. Okay. So when you're seating, you should ensure firm pressure. And you can use 2 fingers to press on the putty index. Just ensure that you have stuffed it well, okay, and then yeah, you can position it onto the model. Yeah, so just hold it by 2 fingers. Okay, don't shift the index. Just hold it in place, okay, until it sets. So once it is done, you can move all the excess material by BP blade, okay, even before polymerization goes to its completion. So once it is done, okay, you can examine the provisional crown. As you can see, you can examine the provisional crown for any defects. If there are any defects, again, you need to reload the putty index and place it on the provisional crowns itself. Okay. In this case, there are no defects. So all you have to do is now separate the provisional crown from the model and trim the excess. So when you're trimming the excess, also ensure that you're removing acrylic in the interdental area. Sorry, interdental area in the sense in the intergingival area. Okay. Interdental gingiva. Okay. So you have to remove that caul area. Okay. So that this will not impinge on the gingiva. Okay, when you're seating. So you can see that this caul area here. Okay. There's sufficient amount of you can see that the caul area there has been your acrylic has been removed using the disc. So once that is done, you need to again check in the patient's mouth. This time it won't be good fit because you have done a very minimum preparation, but the tooth you have done more extensive preparation. So but there wouldn't be any undercuts. So once even the margins would be short, but you don't have to worry about it. So all this will be taken care during the relining process. In this step itself, we could also check for occlusion. So once your check for the seating of the crowns, you will start doing the relining mix. This relining mix should be in a thin consistency. So make it thin consistency. And you don't let it progress to the dough stage. So even when it is in thin consistency itself, once it becomes a little bit viscous, you could start loading the provisional crowns with the acrylic material. So what happens is when it is polymerization has not progressed, and this consistency, there's still an excess of monomer. This monomer, when you load it onto the provisional crowns, this monomer will slightly contact the set polymer also, and then it will create a bond between the set polymer as well as the fresh mix. And another advantage is that being thin mix, what will happen is when you're pressing it on the tooth, or intraorally, that pressure will enable the flow of this material throughout. But if you may let it go to its putty consistency, you will have a resistance in flow. Sorry, when you have it in doughy stage, when you're mixing it, when you're loading it doughy stage, it will have little resistance to flow. So once it is done, you need to press it well. And also you can ask the patient to bite. So once the patient bites, that pressure will also remove will push the excess material around the margins of the crowns. You could either remove it using the excess material you could remove using a cotton or by using your rope, or else you could wait until it starts getting showing heat. So once it starts liberating heat, you remove it from the patient's mouth, and then repeatedly you keep again readapting on the tooth. So this will ensure that the heat generated will not damage the tooth. And you can see that you require some more adjustments. So once you're done some trimming or internal trimming, again reposition the tooth. So once you're satisfied with the fit of the crowns, you can start doing the luting process. So here in this case, we are using an IRM. So you mix the powder and liquid. Mix the powder and liquid, and then load the provisional crowns with the luting cement. When you have to just coat the walls of the provisional crowns. So don't load it too much, because this is again a provisional luting cement, temporary luting cement. So you need to just coat the walls. You can use a probe to just spread the material around the walls of the crown. You can also adjust the amount of material that is there in each. So once you are done with this step, you have to press it in the patient's teeth. Press it in the patient's teeth and ensure that there is a good fit. Okay? And firmly just press it. You can also make the patient bite. This biting pressure will give you a continuous force on the teeth and will help in the adhesion. So after this, sorry. So once we are done, okay, now we'll go to the advantages of this technique. This technique ensures a good fit of the provisional crown. And so, because you're doing a relining technique, okay, the other main advantage is that it saves the chair side time to the patient. So that means you will have to have more of laboratory time and less of chair side time. And also, you need not make a sectional hydrocolloid impression that you would be doing in either your direct technique. And then one more major advantage is that you'll be using very minimum quantity of acrylic resin on the patient's mouth. And so that means what? So that means the amount of heat generated will also be considerably lesser, and also the amount of monomer effect on the soft tissues will also be very much lesser. These are the advantages of using this technique. Then what are the limitations? So limitations is that you require more of laboratory time. So even before the tooth preparation, okay, you need to prepare the model. So that is the it takes some time. So that is one disadvantage of this technique. Okay, but just as other techniques also, one major limitation of this technique is that the crowns that is fabricated by this technique will further require some adjustments. Okay. Either as I told you, as we have seen in this demo, the internal adjustments. Okay, so that it will seat properly. Okay. Internal adjustments in the sense it is on the tissue surface of your crown. Okay, sometimes there could be some distortion, okay, during the relining process. Okay. So you need to remove the areas where it is hindering the placement of the crown. So these are the small disadvantages. So I think we have come to the end of this technique. I request Ayla to proceed. Thank you.
Let's see the recent advances in provisional restorations. So this is a pro-temp crown. This is a prefabricated composite resin crown. It is available in 9 preformed sizes. The custom fit of this pre-temp crown is very much good. Then it has excellent strength. It has more natural looking appearance. It's a light curable material. Because of the light curability, it releases less amount of heat during the fitting process. Next method is used for making custom-made prefabricated provisional restoration, that is Luxa crown. This is again a light cure composite resin material which has good mechanical property, that is adequate strength to withstand the forces. It's light curable. We can make the provisional restoration very fast, so time saving and cost effective. The provisional restoration made from Luxa crowns are long lasting with excellent aesthetic. Let's see how a digital digitally provisional restoration is fabricated. Now everything is digitalized. So once the preparation is over, the intraoral structures will be scanned, then the data will be converted by the software. Then we can see the design of the provisional crown on the screen, which can be milled using CAD/CAM milling machine. We can see the custom-made crown is fitted in the patient's mouth. Then the occlusal high points were evaluated with the articulating paper and adjusted. Now, I like to conclude that one of the most important aspect of dental profession is to provide a predictable outcome to any oral rehabilitation. And the use of the provisional restoration is a critical phase in the treatment. For a successful provisional restoration fabrication, the clinician must have a thorough knowledge of the properties of the intraoral restoration and the fabrication like technique. I like to thank the organizing committee for giving us opportunity to conduct a PCC. Thank you, Ananda.